My name is Fazle Hasan Abed. I am the founder and chair emeritus of BRAC, a development organization based in Bangladesh, which touches the lives of over 100 million people through our work in 11 countries in Africa and Asia. Poverty has many dimensions, including poor health and nutrition, lack of access to education and other opportunities. Over the last 40 years, BRAC has been involved in education, providing basic education to nearly 7 million children, 2/3 of whom are girls. I believe that the education we have provided has enabled millions of children to lead meaningful lives. It is now widely understood that early childhood is a critical time to provide learning opportunities to children in order to ensure their optimal development. Playful learning opportunities based on new pedagogies can give children the kind of head start in life that no other intervention can.
So BRAC believes that people who are living in situations of poverty, they are the actual change makers. They themselves change their fortune only if they are provided some tools. So we always have provided various approaches like finance and other things. But the fundamental tool to change people's fortune is education. So that has been a very, very integral part of BRAC's approach. In the past, what we have done is that we have provided high quality education, meaning not traditional road-based education, but giving education in a joyful manner. In primary education across the world, we have that one room, one teacher model that has been spread out across the world, particularly in Bangladesh. But the scientific evidences now show that the intervention actually has to start much earlier than grade 1, and hence the early childhood development model. And our challenge was that how do we give this education, the early childhood intervention, in a joyful manner, in a low-cost setting across the country.
So BRAC's Play Lab model actually is developed through a collaboration between BRAC Institute of Education Development as well as BRAC's education program itself, and also health program, and also with partnership with various institutions including Columbia University. It's a model where children come into structured, semi-structured, and even sometimes unstructured platform where they get an opportunity to play under the leadership or guidance or facilitation of a play leader.
So BRAC's Play Lab model, it's a very interesting episode in BRAC IED's life because many of the people in BRAC IED, we worked in another life in BRAC education program. And in BRAC education program, we worked on models that were for children of the poor. And in that model, we saw that, how engaging the women of the community, how they can be. The essence of that was really about having a beautiful relationship between the women of the community, who were the teachers, and with the children, who were from the community. There's a lot to be learned from that model. Now, BRAC IED, when we started in 2007, we started with a master's course in ECD. And we were training people on ECD, and we got people, from around the world, from, Columbia University and from Yale. And we got, so many of the scholars in ECD, and we created the master's course. We were the first to do the master's course in ECD. We started advocating for early childhood development, but we felt the need to do something very hands-on. And so, in the years from 2010, 11, 12, we were really thinking about what to do around early childhood development in Bangladesh and how to develop a model. And many of my colleagues also were working on play. So we worked on play, and many of them studied play and did research on play.
And hence we came up with the Play Lab model, that by introducing these kinds of education through play, through various activities, children learn and children actually interact, and as a result learning starts much earlier there, and researchers have clearly shown that if you start intervening early, then the results in the primary and future of that child actually pays out dividend very handsomely. So the Play Lab model essentially is done in a very low cost setting using materials that we find around where the community is living, and using a very community-based approach with the teacher, the facilitator who's there, who's from the community, coming in and working with the children in this learning through joyful mode. We have started the model in Bangladesh, Uganda and Tanzania in very different settings and contexts, and now the challenge is how do we scale this up, and I think we are showing great results and early returns, and we are very hopeful that we're going to be able to do this in a big way in the coming days. And this recognition from Yidan Prize has been a big endorsement of our model. We are particularly thankful to our Lego Foundation who has supported this, but at the same time thanks to Yidan Prize that now we hope with this recognition globally, not just BRAC, everybody will come forward to take this approach and do this in nationally and internationally.
Our plan in future is to expand even beyond Tanzania and Uganda, and not only in the development setting but also in humanitarian setting.
Traditionally, culturally, what we see is education has to be very serious and education has to be very classroom oriented, and this is where we are also trying to change behaviors, change perceptions of parents that education does not have to be very serious. Kids can learn just without even realizing they're learning, through actions, through interactions, through carefully thought out design, but to them is just another playful activity. And we see that it works in normal development context. We have seen implemented that in a context where in humanitarian context, where with the refugee children who have come to Bangladesh, and it's enormously effective, not just from a learning perspective but also kids who have gone through trauma, from a healing perspective as well. Well, we call it play to learn, play to heal, and we are seeing slowly the parents, when they see it, they don't believe it at the beginning, but when they see it, how their interactions, their learning capabilities changing through this process, they become a believer as well. So part of this is not just delivery, it's also about changing parents' perception and their behavior about learning in general.
They will have opportunities, to have more stimulating environment, and those who don't have these resources, they will not have opportunities. We don't believe in that. So therefore we think that this is a movement that needs to be strengthened, and this is an intervention that should go to all children, who are sort of now, who cannot afford this kind of stimulation because of resources. So this, I will say, the future of Play Lab and future of Humanitarian Play Lab is for all children, because this is about equity. This is about equity and stimulation and quality, that if they get it at these years, then they will have thriving, lives, and they can be socially responsible people, and they will really contribute in their own societies.